The life force of your bond, a power like life itself, unseen for generations, a dyad in the force.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Dyad in the Force, episode 194, the one about comics, because we're good about keeping up with the comics nowadays, I think. Just kidding.
Yeah. We're mostly caught up, okay?
It's not like we haven't read anything. I think Choco has gotten further than me to reading the comics. I should essentially take the comics with me when I go out, and when I'm waiting around, I should be reading them, just like I should be playing audiobooks, but that should be easier to do now that I don't have a lot of political videos to watch. It's over. It's over. We don't have to. I mean, I'm going to continue to fight in my personal time, but the
strange things are happening to me.
Strange days are ahead. But that's the thing with like an election year. So moving forward, I think a lot more of our time can be spent on more important things. I'm just kidding. It was pretty important, but we can't do much now. Shout out to Nick Knock, Greg McGuinn, Master James Kenobi, KG, Steve Palpatine. Steve Palpatine says Element is a coward. Explain. How's it going, KG? Hello there, comics. I'm mostly caught up, but that's unemployment for you. Yeah, I mean, I'm unemployed too, but while I wait for the game industry to kind of catch itself, I've been doing some dashing, and sometimes it's a bit of a drag and a bit of a slog.
Dashers. Come on.
No, it's a different thing for me because there's a K-pop group called NMIX, and one of their songs is Dash. I mean, I'll play it really quickly. Hopefully, I don't get copyrighted.
I mean, didn't we get copyrighted last week or the week before?
We did, but I played a lot of that SNL clip.
Phineas McCormick, good evening. I have fallen behind on comics, but I'm trying to catch up on the novels. Awesome. Phineas, what what novel are you currently on?
So this is all I have to play is the beginning.
Okay.
That's all.
That's fair. Hope y'all are doing well. This new trilogy has been confusing to me. Are they also dropping other projects? Hope your stream answers questions I have.
Well, definitely will, for sure.
Yeah, do we want to jump straight into that? This is the news segment.
Yeah, I decided to change it from intro because I feel like our intros are like hello, and then we can cover it really quickly. I mean, it's so
we have already discussed this in a separate video, but you're here now, so we'll talk about it. I was also kind of in the dark on this because I've been playing Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and I love the game. So if you have questions on the game let me know if you're playing it.
I love the game too.
Comment that as well. And so, yeah. So I went and read the source, and then after reading it, I found out what other people were saying about it, and I just had to shake my head.
All right, what were they saying about it? Because I refused to dive into that rabbit hole, knowing what essentially was going to be the case of the parrot. When I saw the thumbnails on Theory's video on it.
I mean, it's a clickbait tactic where people instead of reading the source of an article, you read the source, read the actual person it's coming from, and then you can try to figure out what they're saying, whatever. But if you don't read the source, you're going to get someone else's perspective on the article. You will get part of the interview or part of the quotes or whatever. And so there's a lot of people who were speculating that this is going to be like a new Rey trilogy that is going to be popping up, and that's really not been stated anywhere, right? It's not stated anywhere that this is going to have to do. And even in the Deadline article, they said that he said, I anticipated this was going to be a new Skywalker trilogy, 10, 11, 12, and my sources said, no, it's not. But my thing is, even if that were true, even if it was 10, 11, 12, that still wouldn't be a Rey trilogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, where it comes from is the editorialization or the first sentence of the Deadline article, which was like, I thought it was gonna be this, but they immediately disputed it, and so I think people really need to read the entire thing. I think before anything.
It's like that South Park bit. Why can't it read? Like this. No. Basically, like I said, there's signed on to do a new trilogy. We thought it was going to be at like 10, 11, and 12, but other sources said it's not. It's going to be something separate, just like the other projects, which makes a lot more sense, right? We already have a Rey movie that's coming out. That was even mentioned, in the article. So even if it were going to be 10, 11, 12, right, that would be the next generation. But whatever it is, it's unlikely to be a Rey trilogy specifically, but people are using that to try to generate hate clicks, But it's super exciting to me because my question then becomes, well, what kind of trilogy could it be? I'm hoping for Old Republic trilogy. What do you guys think, right? So the article mentions, this is another project alongside, James Mangold, who's doing the Origin of the Jedi, alongside the Charmine's project, which is the Rey movie, alongside, we have the Filoni movies that are coming out. Mandalorian and Heir to the Empire. And so we have all of these time periods kind of covered. And if you're going to give someone license to play around to work up a trilogy and not step on any of those other people's toes, I'm thinking it's got to be in a different part of the timeline, right?
See, the thing is, there's if we're talking about the framework of the connected universe, there's so many possibilities, right? This could be a trilogy that's connected to Heir to the Empire. This could be a trilogy that's connected to the current timeline of the New Jedi Order. But, it also could be connected to Dawn of the Jedi. So that's kind of like the issue that's kind of like the problem they have with having so many movies in different timelines. So that like any kind of announcement to this effect is like, well, it could be any one of those. It could connect to any one of those. Or all of those movies that are potentially coming out could just all be connected by a singular narrative thread, which would be Revan. Yeah.
I'm a spooky kitty. I wish I could. Someone make me feel better.
You're swimming in apathy. No, I feel you. Listen, we're not a political channel by any means, but you know, I mean, feel those emotions. You gotta let it out.
The only way out is through.
You can't we can't tell you how to feel about it, but I can always tell you that Leia said, if you only believe in hope, or hope is like the sunrise, or hope is like the sun, if you only believe in it when you see it, you won't make it through the night, you know. And I like to echo a lot of the sentiment we've been hearing for the past day or two, and that's, you know, our work doesn't end. This is just another 4 years of preparing to fight back. You know?
Yeah. Let's see. It could be a trilogy based on Nubs from the Young Jedi series. Absolutely. Nubs, like, behind enemy lines. I'm into it.
A Young Jedi Adventures trilogy would be dope. The amount of projects currently in work and how many have been canceled or rumored, it makes it hard to foresee what the trilogy will be about. Yeah.
That's true. And that's one of the reasons why normally I don't even like to make videos on these, but of course we do if there's like a lot of misinformation being spread. I feel like in the Star Wars community we're too in the weeds, you know what I mean? And which is fine, which makes sense, especially since we haven't gotten a movie in theaters for a long time. I mean, far less than it typically is between trilogies. I'll say that, but still, we want something. These companies, studios, are always looking at scripts. They're always looking at pitches. They're always getting ideas, and then some of them will go to the next step. Some of them will go to the next step and then, you know, not make it out of this. Some people will go to development hell. This is common. This is regular movie stuff. And so being too in the weeds behind the scenes is what leads to weird sadness, because a lot of these things don't get announced. It's not announced and the project doesn't come out. And so, like, we feel like something was taken away when it was never promised, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This one in particular as well hasn't been announced. This is
yeah, exactly.
This is an exclusive by all, but by every definition of the word, it has not been confirmed. Right? So they're taking what seems to be insider information about Simon Kinberg signing on to do something for Lucasfilm. And the only thing that they can really claim in this regard when it comes to reporting on the subject is that, yes, Lucasfilm has signed with Simon Kinberg to write a trilogy. Lucasfilm hasn't announced it yet, nor have they attached any like specifics to that. So all we're trying to do is just speculate around it. I mean, for all intents and purposes, like, Lucasfilm is more than Star Wars. So, I mean, it could very well be announced in the future that Simon Kinberg signed on to write a Willow trilogy, for all we know.
Which is very, very true. Now, Simon Kinberg was a producer on all of Star Wars Rebels, which is awesome. I have Jedi Smark and Patches Fan Four Stick group watch win. Yeah, Simon Kinberg was a producer on the terrible Fantastic Four movie. But he was also involved in everything that any of us, all the Deadpool stuff, all X-Men stuff. Like, his geek cred is crazy.
Yeah. We do have an announcement to make. We have a huge tech upgrade for everyone out there. If you are currently part or a member of the Dyad Squadron, or a member of the YouTube channel, this is going to be free for you. If you have seen any of our community posts for members, over on dyadintheforce.com, we do have a portal set up to deliver uncut, full length
nude.
No. God damn it. Now the Grifterverse is going to clip that. No. We have the means to deliver full length uncut reactions. And this is something we were talking about for the longest time. We wanted to do like DVD commentary on like the Skywalker saga. So, we're planning to post rewatches of the saga films, doing like DVD commentary, director's commentary on them. It'll be uncut and stuff like that. And you can, it'll be, things that normally or typically get blocked on YouTube.
Yeah.
And this will include, for example, Jedi Smart. We can even do a full watch reaction of Fan 4 Stick, or anything that you guys request.
Granted, that would be a lot more like a Mystery Science 3000 type of deal, I imagine. Although that movie is so boring. I don't.
It did some things in the first act, but as soon as you see Kate Mara's hair change, you're like, oh, this is where it starts. But yeah, if you guys are a member of the YouTube channel, you'll get monthly codes to make your membership on the portal free. So go on over to dyadintheforce.com just to sign up and just create your accounts, and then we'll put all of our full-length videos there. And we'll start with what do you want to do? You want to do chronological, or do you want to do release order? We'll start with a New Hope Dyad commentary.
You know what?
Let's do the Acolyte. I'm just kidding.
Well, I was actually gonna say let's start with Clone Wars. I was planning to do Clone Wars rewatch for content purposes, but we could do it there, or we could just do for the films. I prefer release order. That's just me. But
KG says chronological. It's overrated.
Damn you, KG. No, I'm kidding. I love KG.
Jedi Smart says OnlyFans when. This is it. Except when you join on our website, the merchant the buy code doesn't say OnlyFans, so it's safer. And you don't even have to buy anything if you're already a member on the YouTube channel. You'll get a discount code that makes it free. But essentially, we'll be able to release videos that are primarily or always blocked on YouTube that we can't post anywhere else.
Blue Eagle Gamer says we should watch it in Benjamin Button order.
Reverse chronology. Oh, yeah.
But I have to say, like, the adjectives that you were throwing out, I was like, where is he going with this?
Uncut, uncensored.
And when you said uncut, I had to say nude, because that just makes it funny.
Well, that's also like, it's also false
like
advertising too, right? Isn't it false advertising most of the time? You go to, like, I remember back in the day, we'd go to Blockbuster. You go to Blockbuster, you see a DVD box, and it says uncut and uncensored, right? That didn't mean anything. It just means that it's a different, like, it's a different cut from the movie, but it wasn't, not at all uncensored.
You thought it was just going to be all the takes? It was going to be like 12 hours and like nonsense.
Release order is the only correct answer. Only debatable, unique Count Chocula video. What? Is our first video on the members portal, when you log in, is Choco going 1, 2, 3. That is how you count to episode 3. We'll see. We'll put up a poll I mean, on it, but that's essentially what we're planning to do. A lot of the videos that we can't post on YouTube will be posted there. And if you don't want to deal with YouTube, you can always sign up on the website too. So dyadintheforce.com. Go join and sign up. It's free to sign up initially, but if you want to access those videos, you're going to have to use the membership code you get from the YouTube membership, or get a membership on the website. Yeah. And it will say only Choco on the statement.
It's called Darth Plagueis Feet Pics.
Feet pics?
Pafeet pics.
Pafeet. Can you
read it? Marion Rowe self-insert fanfic. I'll pay. When you say self-insert, never mind. What do we got going on? I'm sorry, y'all. It's the gamer juice.
If it depends, Malik. If you want it to be Choco, you're gonna have to Venmo that directly to him. So there's no paper trail to me. So we're in for a new kind of lightsaber ignition. Actually, what the portal is called is hyperspace lanes. We have a beta test video on there right now. So if you do happen to become a member and get that discount code, you can see one of our early videos with Not a Kyber discussing if Yoda was a bad leader or not. I think that's actually a really good platform.
That was a fun discussion.
We could also put our discussion with Star Wars Lawyer about Ahsoka's trial, though that stuff is freely available on our YouTube channel anyway. But those are just the beta test videos. So yeah, for sure, check out our website. Check out dyadintheforce.com and get ready for all of that lovely blocked videos to be released there. So will we learn the gist of it in those hyperlanes? I'd say so. Yes, perhaps. Hold on.
Oh, there's this idiot. I put him on timeout for 30 minutes. He waited 30 minutes and still commenting. It's funny to me when people will just like we'll do an hour. We'll see if he hangs around.
Well, that's fine.
It's just funny to see the devotion to trolls. It's really sad and pathetic.
No, they're hidden now. I can understand the point to machete order, but low key agree. There's so much more. There's just so much content now.
Yeah, machete order no longer counts or no longer makes sense. But that's and to me, machete order, like, we've gotten so much more content that adds value to the other parts of like the Phantom Menace as well. So like I get it when it was just the films, but now there's more implications from other things, you know?
Have you watched it in the Jedi order?
No. I don't know what that is.
You watch all of the movies that have Jedi in the name first, and then you watch the movie with Sith, and then everything else.
I don't know what it does, but
so it would be Return of the Jedi, The Last Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, The Force Awakens, and The Rise of Skywalker. Original trilogy, then full chronological, including all shows, both live action and animation. interesting. Either way, the hyperspace lanes on our website is just going to have all those videos. That's all. And we will have we'll probably do some of the shows too and talk about the shows. I mean, the benefit of having our own platform to host videos is so that we can just do it, just watch the thing and talk about it, provide commentary and our reactions without having to cut anything out, without having to obscure anything either.
I mean, we'd still be able to take clips and put them on our different forms of media and stuff, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes. There's going to be a lot of, the self-insert jokes, things like that won't make it into the final cut. Just like you guys are hanging out here now, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's something when you're sitting in traffic, you hang out, and you get to talk about Star Wars with friends. It's mostly us doing the talking, but we still appreciate it. And, we can always have people join us for those discussions later on as well.
Also, the shill money is not paying. So, we're trying to build up a platform, a space for that we can have good and honest Star Wars conversations, and you guys are all aware of our larger aspirations to have a studio and to be able to have in-person guests and stuff, and some of you guys can even be in-person guests if y'all want to, but we're never going to grift. We're never going to go down the quick and easy path, so even subscribing to our channel, we highly appreciate it. We're following us on TikTok and all of our socials is the best way to support us. But to that end, we appreciate everyone who comes in and watches and tunes in and has conversations with us in the chat. Resistance reverse chronological 7 times, and then the One Visions episode about music with the hot musician. What is that? What order is that?
I'm into it.
Will your hyperspace lanes have a black hole section because of the black holes from the Kessel Run? And what do you propose? Would we put the Plagueis feet in that black holes section? I mean, I'm all about doing an Only Choco's subscription tier for $50 where it's just Choco's feet that I won't even have access to.
What about the Only 7 side? It's The
Only 7?
Yeah.
I imagine that's only 7 videos of 7 parts of my body. A whole 7 inches.
It's
I'm a spooky kitty says, does making stupid jokes in chat count as helping? Yes, absolutely.
We appreciate it. We appreciate the levity, especially right now.
ASMR Legends readings, we can do that too. This portal enables us to be able to just give you guys videos we can't give to anyone else on a public platform, It's our own little slice of the galaxy.
And yes, that is correct. Only Choco will be in the black hole section.
Or the space buttholes.
That'll be yeah.
I imagine Choco's feet and Shaq's feet look identical.
Listen, that dude's got a size 21 foot.
Isn't it?
I mean,
larger than that?
Probably. That guy's a monster.
He's a size 23.
Okay, close enough. Yeah. I'm rocking a 13 wide.
I'm rocking a 10 wide. But I'm also not 5'9". That's odd. That's strangely accurate, isn't it? So if I'm 5'7" and I'm a 10, 8, 9, well, you're an extra inch, but it's strangely proportionate. You know what I mean?
I don't know what thing you're referring to. Apparently
I'm 5'7". My shoe size is 10. You're 5'9", which is 2 inches taller.
I'm 5'11".
Oh, you're 5'11". So
yeah,
8, 9, 10, 11, 4. Okay, so it's still proportionate. Google Shaq's feet right now. I didn't. I said Shaq's shoe size. You have to be. You have to be explicit.
I'm not looking at Shaq's. So Shaquille O'Neal is an athlete. Athletes' feet are disgusting. It doesn't matter any type of athlete, you know.
Both of you put your feet on cam. This ain't that type of stream. Kid.
Where are we? What are we doing?
I don't know. We're in the news section, but this is news to me, so it makes sense.
How did we get here? We're smarter than this. Apparently not.
Landing. Oh, that reminds me. We have. I remembered to bring this back.
What did I just say? You just...
Guys, what show is this from?
Cassian Andor.
Oh man, I forgot about Cassian Andor.
Yep.
You know what I miss? The one I miss is because of Obi-Wan. And when the Obi-Wan show was coming on, how frequently we kept putting that in there.
Oh yeah. I could still add it, you know.
You have done that yourself.
But the one thing, every time I say something, and you don't understand me,
You never understand me.
You're right, because I don't even understand what you say right there.
ah, brother, always because of Obi-Wan. Because of Obi-Wan. Let me see if I can add that right now. Typically, I can't add it. Can I?
Don't do that.
Is it?
Let me. Did that?
Because of Obi-Wan.
There it is. It's back. No, what you're seeing in the call,
Yeah. No,
is not what they see.
Have it up. Woo! All right.
So the reason we've gone down the rabbit hole in this stream is
Because of Obi-Wan.
Now, someone said there was like a first look at Andor season 2. Did you see that?
no, I didn't.
Yeah. So I know that comment was way up there. Andor season 2 first official look revealed via D23 Brazil display, and that was 8 hours ago, 9 hours ago.
Is it a cam? It's not an official release, is it?
Oh, okay. So I did see that. There's just a display, and it's Diego Luna, and he's wearing a different, like, he's got this like vest and a coat. He actually looks like one of the crows, which I'm very into.
Wasn't that at D23 when we were there?
This particular display, I don't recall. I don't recall that outfit being there.
Also,
I remember the old one with the old coat, you know. But
did you ever get our official video from the stagecraft?
I reached out. They never sent it to me. They're supposed to send links, and they're all connected to the badges. I completely forgot about that. I wonder who I can. I might be able to still get in touch with someone. Yeah, I'll try.
Dave just said Lucanus reminds him of Diego Luna. Not really. Lucanus is super Spanish, super Spaniard. He has that Spanish, like, he almost sounds like Antonio Banderas, but not.
There was no Spanish lisp in there.
No, but his
crisp.
accent. Like, I'm sure if he spoke Spanish, I don't know who his voice actor is, but if he spoke Spanish, it would probably be there. Like, buenos dias. But like, the way he speaks is like I carry the guitar case and I shoot it at all my enemies. You know? I was about to ask if Lucanus is BioWare's attempt at giving us an Asterian. Ilario, what happened? How did they get him?
I mean, his character's the way he speaks is still very reminiscent of like Dorian's speech as well. Which Dorian is in this game, but he actually has less of an accent now, but from Inquisition.
Yeah, the one thing that I also can't wrap my head around is Lucanus has the white Spanish complexion, and then Ilario has like a more South American complexion. You know what I mean?
That's what it is. The way they speak reminds me, and I know this is probably splitting hairs, but it reminds me more of like Argentinian style.
I'm unfamiliar with just the specifics of it, but yeah, that's in South America.
Yeah. But yeah, I know. I mean, the complexions all vary. Now, and I apologize. We're now talking about Dragon Age. So for anyone else who has no idea what we're talking about, it's Dragon Age. But what's your name? I want to say it's Taya, one of the mission givers in that city, Treviso. She fine. I'm like,
I remember,
dang, I can't romance Taya. Like, goddamn.
I feel like you should be able
so
to romance
disappointed.
every single person you meet.
Every
No, like the possibility, right? Every person that has a speaking role, every person that's like, tertiary to the plot, you should be able to, right? Because like, I'm not just attracted to like my inner circle. You know, there are people I meet that I rarely see that I'm also attracted to. So like, if you want to recreate,
so like the world is ending and you're going on missions, and then you're like, all right, but let me come back here.
I mean, would you for Taya? That's the question, right? Like, if you're at the lighthouse and nobody was kind of like doing it for you, you'd be like, let me go to Treviso real quick and see what she's doing, you know? But there was also
I will say, coming back to the lighthouse is probably is a good way to pick up some partners.
Well, there's
You're
also
like, I can show you the world, like quite literally. We can come here.
I can show you the crossroads. But there's also
the
that
crossroads.
there's also that one moment where Lucanus is like, Taya, stop flirting with my colleague. Feel like there was some jealousy there.
I mean,
hold on. I even remembered another thing, which I should probably make into a soundboard edit for you. How do you like your chocolate calda? I mean, how did you like it?
Huh?
How did you like it? Answer the question.
Good. Let's see here.
Ba-ba-bum. We have a dish in the Philippines called caldereta. Not caldereta. What is it called? Jesus Christ. Oh, champorado, which is kind of
drink.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is rice pudding in chocolate rice pudding in Filipino.
Yeah, Mexicans drink it as well.
Oh. Trying to be Harding's step stool. He called me a child during that scene. Really? Dang, what are you doing, Malik? I've got the utmost respect from all of my companions.
Oh, so I was like cleaning the kitchen. I had Fairy Tale going, and there was like this fan servicey episode, and I was like, geez. Like, I know it's bad in this show, but this is like a lot. And then there was just one scene of Urza going, "How dare you speak to me?" I'll have to make a clip, but I was like, "Oh, word."
Oh wait, so you're not in the 100-year quest yet? Mm-mm. There's another one of those like moments where it's like a huge serious fight, but like one of them is speaking very, very suggestively, and she starts blushing. He's like, "Stop, I'm trying to fight you." Apologies for turning this into everything but Star Wars. So Malik, I'm torn between Harding and Ballara in some cases. I'm still in the early stages of the story. Choco told me that there will be points of no return in that regard, but I still, like, every time I make my choice, I was like, I'm gonna travel on a road less traveled and do Harding. Wow, the phrasing. Then choose Harding, but then like I go on a mission with Ballara, and I'm like, I mean, I kind of want to do that too, you know?
Harding reminds you of your actual girlfriend. Yeah, and Ballara reminds me of my actual wife. And yeah, I beat the game. I romanced Ballara. Not gonna lie, I had to save scum once. I had to go back like 40 minutes.
Wow.
But whatever. It is what it is. Let's see. Who wins, Goku or Superman? I hate this matchup, but Superman wins that fight.
I hate this matchup too, because what do you have to turn Superman into to win? Something that he's not. See, the argument always comes down to, well, Superman can just blitz him. It's like, Superman's not going to blitz him. He's not going to do anything that's lethal.
And I'm in full agreement with this, because I feel like you can't take the personalities out of people, because that determines how they fight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
and I would argue the same with Goku. Like, he loves fighting, but I don't know if he would also try to do anything lethal to Superman. Obviously, because Superman's not. He would anybody.
Even if he beat. Basically, what it comes down to is they would just be bros. They would just be bros. They would spar, and they wouldn't take it above a certain level. That it's not cheating if she looks like your wife. She doesn't look like my wife, but she behaves like my wife.
I'd say the better fight is Vegeta versus Doomsday, or Vegeta versus someone else who's kind of equally merciless in that regard. But by all accounts, Vegeta would win.
I like how Gajeel is just Vegeta mixed with Wolverine.
Makes sense. Tash shot their shot at me and I almost folded. They had me against the wall. You were against the wall. You started against the wall.
Up against the wall, up against the wall.
Zod? No, Vegeta wins that
Against the
fight.
wall.
Vegeta wins against
This
Zod.
is the way I would have done this. Sorry, I'm going full emo now.
Oh yeah, Malik is owning it. We've done it, boys. We've thrown their show off the rails. Listen. I got that reference.
Which reference? The song I was singing? Awesome. Anyways, Andor is coming. He looks cool. We got more spy stuff. Do you have any lore, or is there any more news that we've missed?
That seems to be the only news that is of consequence, at least. But
Yeah, I haven't. I sign into Twitter so much less nowadays.
what do we got in terms of lore? Does anybody have any lore questions? Is there any other misconceptions that we can strike off the list? I haven't gotten to Vegeta yet. I started Dragon Ball and I just got to Piccolo Jr. Oh, okay. So you're just on the original series. I mean, truth be told, like Vegeta in the Saiyan saga wins. I mean, he's a planet buster when he's introduced. Like it's. I mean. See, the thing is, they're both Kryptonian, but Superman is always written with limitless potential, and Zod is just like written with the potential that, with the upper ceiling that Superman requires to beat him. I don't know. You know more about DC than I do. What would you say about? Let's
Superman vs. Zod.
No, let's make this simple. Saiyan Saga Vegeta versus Zod.
Vegeta. Yeah. I mean, we also have to remember that Vegeta in the Saiyan saga has already come into a lot of his power. Not all of it, obviously, but Zod, on the planet of Krypton, doesn't have his powers.
It's true. I have an argument for you that is that has the Saiyans winning over both. But it's a specific situation. So I think Vegeta would win against Superman and Zod. Not at the same time, mind you. Here's the thing. Vegeta is fully within character and fully capable of destroying the sun. And thus the Kryptonians have nothing.
The problem is Superman is so inconsistently written.
Isn't that one consistency though? Like he has he's weak to red suns, or blue suns.
Red.
He's weak to red,
or red doesn't exude the radiation that he needs.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with Superman's propensity to show mercy, there would be a point in the fight where Vegeta realizes he's getting his power from the sun, and he would not hesitate to destroy it. Krillin could. I mean, hey, listen, Krillin is a planet buster. Don't.
Krillin is a no. You're right though. To feel bad for Krillin because he catches strays. I there's a bunch of people who were saying, it was like you get $1 million, but you have to fight someone from anime, and people were saying, "Oh, I'd fight Mr. Satan." Like you saw how badly Cell backhanded him, and you're like, that's because Cell is that much stronger. It doesn't mean Hercules is weak. Like Krillin is not. Krillin is a planet buster. He's got a baddie as a wife. Like Krillin is just living the life. You know what I mean? Krillin could punch way above his weight as well. If all you have to do is hit him with a solar flare, and then hit him with a destructo disc. They're blind. They're in half. Doesn't matter who. You can punch way above his weight class with that.
I also feel like people don't realize that anybody who knows the Kamehameha is planetary. Maybe we should let Krillin walk ahead so his bald head can light the way.
Yeah, no, Bulma.
His disc didn't work on the back of Cell's neck, though.
Perfect Cell is a whole different animal.
Well, isn't it because he had a shield on him? He had a key,
I can't remember
key
the
barrier.
specifics.
Because most of the time when that stuff doesn't work is because of a key barrier.
Yeah.
But you throw a destructo disc at Superman and he doesn't know what to do with it. He's going to try to catch it or flick it away. It's going to cut him. Be nice to me with spoilers, please. I'm a noob. What are we talking about? Oh, Dragon Ball. Sorry.
Ooh, now I actually just started this new book series that I think people might watch. It's called Unsold. And it feels like you're reading an anime. like a pretty epic one.
The Dragon Balls get grouped.
Basically, the premise is basically imagine if Naruto was about Rock Lee, but he's trying to get up to like beyond Planet Killer level. Like you have a kid who has no affinity, that the rest of his clan has, and so at this point, like children could just like beat his ass. And
Imagine
he has to
if
figure
Naruto
out
was
different
interesting.
ways.
Dude, kick rocks, Malik, with no shoes on.
Anyways,
Continue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
check out
sorry.
Unsold.
Unsold by?
Who is Unsold by? I can't remember.
Well, that was an awesome pitch. Oh, I also have...
I mean, would have been more if it wasn't interrupted, but
sorry.
Will White.
Okay. I'll check it out when we have time. I have a comment
Star Wars
for you
lore.
to... I have a comment for you to react to really quickly. I think we have a live caller. Hello? Are you there?
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
shit. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. Hey, guys.
How's it going?
Good, good. Sorry. I saw you guys were live, and I just wanted to, like, pop in for, like, a quick second. Technically, I'm still working, but I just wanted to pop in and say, like, hi, you guys, and how much I, like, love you guys, love your guys' content, love you guys' videos.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
yours too. I think the very raw nature of you just kind of being like, what the hell are you guys smoking? just
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. It is crazy just, like, to just hear all that nonsense, you know, and it's so much, so often, and it's always all the same usual ridiculousness, you know, and, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think it's good that there are more people in the fandom who are just, like, you know, calling it out. You know, I admit this all the time that I'm not, like, the most well-versed Star Wars fan, but, like, watching, like, when the Acolyte came out and watching your guys' videos, it's really got me, like, getting deeper into the world, and seeing more creators in this fandom just, like, call out the really ridiculous bad faith actors in here. It's really good to see.
absolutely.
And we appreciate it because I myself, you know, have started to get real tired, and to see other people carry the torch is like, it picks me back up. You know what I mean? Like we hold each other up, so it's super appreciated.
Yeah. Again, I just pop it in really quickly. I would love to have, like, a longer conversation with you guys. Hopefully one day that would be amazing.
Oh yeah, we can absolutely arrange that. And do you have any lore questions or anything like that to leave us with?
Off the top of my head, not especially.
No worries.
But I did want to ask, like, I know Element 7. I think you posted a video about the new trilogy that we're getting. I just, like, really quickly would love to hear both of your thoughts. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm super excited. Simon Kinberg was a part of all of Star Wars Rebels, which I think is the best animated part of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so makes me super excited because what we could get is, I'm hoping that we're getting something in, like, Old Republic or High Republic as a trilogy aside, so it doesn't touch anything else. I know the person who wrote the article speculated it could be 10, 11, 12, but his sources already said it wasn't. And I might be weird to already have it planned, as they're still writing the Rey movie.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I mean, Star Wars, it just needs to get back in theaters. That's what we really need, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
For me, I mean, it's I gave this caveat earlier, but it is an industry, like, exclusive. Like, Lucasfilm has signed a deal with Kinberg, but there's nothing Star Wars about it. Because Lucasfilm hasn't made that announcement, so it's just kind of like an insider thing. So while I'm excited for a Star Wars trilogy, whether it's part of, like, a New Jedi Order trilogy or if it's part of, like, an Old Republic saga, it could, like I told Choco in the chat, it could very well be a Willow trilogy for all we know, and that's still Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Well, we know it's not.
He could write an entire trilogy, and then if that gets turned into a book series or a TV show or never gets released or whatever. I mean, that's how these things always work out.
What we know it's not is it's not episode 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I kind of feel more or less the same way. Someone commented on a video I made about it, about Simon Kinberg specifically, and I forgot to mention that because I was, like, wrapped up in everything. But he is someone that I kind of do give a little bit of a side eye. I recognize his credit. He's done a lot of good producing work, especially with, like, the X-Men stuff. And I believe he worked with Star Wars, like you said, on Rebels. So I think there is something there that he could bring, but, you know, Dark Phoenix left a bad taste in people's mouths, and
that
whatnot.
movie, yeah, was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, he wrote Apocalypse too. It's just, it's part of the industry. You write as much as that guy does, you'll have misses.
True, very true. I still think that
I'm still haunted by Apocalypse putting his hand on a TV, and Storm goes, "What are you doing?" He goes,
learning.
But that's one of his mutant powers.
It's true, yeah. Like that's how just he absorbs everything. He
has technomancy.
No,
yeah.
He does have technomancy. A television in the 1980s. How that was shot was terrible, and it was, the line was terribly delivered. That's not how TVs work.
I mean, we have satellite internet, right? It could very well be going off
right
of
now.
satellite waves.
Yeah.
Right now we do. This isn't now. This is pretty far in the past.
How are you going to argue technomancy doesn't work off of like radio waves and satellite waves? Because that's how, there's an antenna on that TV.
I'm saying
these are the conversations we have. We don't like sit here and like hate on shit, and like this is how we have fun. Sorry.
He can't touch a television with rabbit ears on top and get nuclear codes. That's all I'm saying. That's not a thing. Those two systems are not connected.
True, but there is like a level. It's just like cheesy enough to be like, you know what, I could believe it. I could kind of see, what they're doing here, and I guess it was kind of fun. Apocalypse, for me overall, Apocalypse was mixed, but it did bring me back to like, old school kind of X-Men cartooniness sort of. So that's why I'm a little like, yeah, it was a mixed bag, but I still think there's stuff to enjoy.
There was some serviceable stuff in it. Like I'm not going to be the first person to defend Apocalypse. That was a pretty horrid movie, but I felt giddy with the first time he spoke with that double voice that like made him sound like Apocalypse from TAS.
Yeah.
I got really excited when he started to grow really large in the commercial, and then I found out that didn't actually happen. That was a dream, and I was so mad.
Stuff. Yeah.
But no. That being said, he wrote it. He was also the producer of it, and for me, when I think of, because I don't like that movie. I thought Dark Phoenix was so boring, and I still have no idea who the other aliens were. It's literally never explained or talked about like who they were. With it just didn't come up in the movie at all, which I think is super weird. But
I think at that point they were
those
like,
movies,
this movie's not going anywhere. So
Disney just decided to do whatever.
The problem with those movies was they had too big of actors, so the studios were like, no, we are selling Jennifer Lawrence and so they never got to develop the actual X-Men team. You know what I mean?
I really hate the reliance or the bankability of Jennifer Lawrence. She's a great actress, but she was really bad for X-Men, to be honest.
Yeah, by the end there, she
hated it.
She was checked out completely.
Like, they found a way to put me in a blue suit. I'm like, but then you're not Mystique.
Yeah.
I feel like every one of those films was Mystique finding out it's okay to show up as a mutant and then not doing that in the next film, and then every one was Magneto getting a family and then having them fridged.
Oh God!
So
yeah.
at the start of every movie, and I was just like, and then it was the constant bait of like of Professor walking or being crippled was like frustrating.
Phineas McCormick says the worst thing about the Apocalypse movie to me was the depiction of Angel. I kind of liked the depiction of Angel.
Yeah.
There was a specific scene where Angel was like trapped under debris, and he like cuts a hole and then flies through the ceiling. And I laughed.
So okay, my approach to Angel and Apocalypse is relative to other depictions of Angel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we finally got an Archangel with his metal wings and him shooting his feathers.
No, yeah, that was definitely like really cool to see it, especially like him actually turning into Archangel. It was super gruesome, and like just
Yeah.
hearing him scream in pain as like his entire body gets reworked. The way he died was a choice. He's the one character who can fly and dies in a plane crash. That's interesting. That's the way to go for sure. But
Okay, but they did that with Darwin too. The one character you
yes,
can't kill.
yes. Never forget Darwin.
This is one thing. Yeah. But that being said, I fully believe that those films were studio meddling. Because of that. But also look at the other things that he worked on as well. So yeah, there are a few things I don't like, but yeah, all 71 episodes of Rebels he's credited for. All the Deadpool stuff, the Marvel, it's just all the X-Men stuff, good and bad, including Logan, which is arguably the best superhero film, of all time.
Very true.
Yeah, again, he's going to have hits, he's going to have misses. I don't think everything that Christopher Nolan does is peak either. So, I mean,
you miss every shot you don't take.
Yeah, the amount of things he's written is
Wayne
just
Gretzky,
a testament. Really.
Michael Scott.
I have hope. Like you guys said, it's nice that we're getting Star Wars on the big screen again.
Yeah.
I know Mandalorian and Grogu's coming out, but Star Wars needs to be in theaters. It needs to have that like big widescreen experience for people. And since the episode 9 came out, we've been sorely lacking. We've only really been on the small screen. Just having them in theaters again, having that energy again is probably going to be amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I feel like we need to make Star Wars like theater events just in general, because I would absolutely have watched the Lego movie in a theater. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's just me. Premieres of shows, because they do multiple episodes. I feel like those should always be in theaters as well. Although I think they often are.
I'll have a graphic of this later. There.
Let's see here. It says criticisms are valid, but First Class, Days of Future Past, and Logan are peak for me. From Michael.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm not as big a fan of First Class as a lot of people, but that Quicksilver scene was spectacular.
Yeah, that always gets me. Days of Future Past, definitely, of all of them, it's my favorite. It's also my favorite ending for Wolverine. I know Logan is the one that like really hits home, but something about seeing Wolverine and Scott and Jean and Storm and Beast and Kitty and Iceman and all those, and Rogue, everyone back together again. That's like who we grew up with. Something about that really hit for me emotionally, Again, Logan is really great, but Days of Future Past, man, that was my ending. That's my ending. That's how I choose to remember Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
Yeah. No, that is a fantastic one. And he's going to play the role until he dies. So
Till he's 90. Till he's 90, bro. Oh, God. Oh, I have thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine, but that's a different conversation. That's a different...
My hot take has been The Acolyte's better written than Deadpool and Wolverine.
100%. 100% agree.
Oh yeah,
like a lot better written.
I mean, I don't think Deadpool and Wolverine were trying to, was trying to shatter all counts of movie history and cinematic writing.
Which is true. It's true. I'm not a fan of that reasoning though, because the first Deadpool movie was so compelling, like in the writing and storyline. Like it was actually a really beautiful love story on just full on acceptance of another person, and it had a through line and a beating heart That's why it was released on Valentine's Day. And the other ones just didn't match up for that. At least for me.
Don't get me wrong, though. Like,
but at the same time, like, didn't you just like have fun? Like, don't you need those movies that are just kind of like fan servicey and
yeah,
you can
that's also true. Like,
munch on your popcorn.
The MCU, I agree with a lot of people that the MCU needed a good crowd pleaser. After a while, like everyone still talks about Endgame and whatnot, and how everyone remembers where they were when Mjolnir happened, and this, that, and the third. That's why I liked the movie when I first saw it. Like, all the fan service stuff was instantly great. I also do admit that the movie, it wasn't just fan service. I mean, it was obviously that, but there was an attempt to actually tie that to a much larger narrative in that movie. I just, it's really just the humor for me. Sometimes, it's very hit or miss for sure.
Well, and
that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I liken it a lot to the first Venom movie because the reactions of Eddie and Venom together were gold, and I love that. And it was compelling, made me enjoy the movie. Nothing else in the movie super worked, So that's kind of how I felt about it. But I guess overall, I'm saying. I do still feel like you could,
It's part of the nuance of viewership. Like I totally enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine. I laughed and
I loved it. We watched it together. I had a blast. And this is not me saying it's a bad movie, or I'm not saying like I didn't enjoy it or anything like that.
Yeah, no. Like again, this is part of the nuance of media consumption, right? Like things can't be the best or the worst all the time. Sometimes you enjoy it for what it is and be like, but it's kind of bad writing, so it doesn't really matter. What matters is how you felt, and like sometimes that's just the final word on that, Mm-hmm. Like sometimes like this is what the Grifterverse likes to do when it galvanizes its audience. It needs them to all conform to a singular opinion about something. And what they'll do is they'll use buzzwords to that effect. But like we all know that we don't all enjoy everything that Star Wars puts out. Like we have our favorites, we have our least favorites, and we have our criticisms of it. It doesn't always come down to this is ass. That's it. Right? No, like we have different
100%.
We have different critical analyses of these things.
All right, so everyone in the chat and also everyone on the call, I'm gonna have to ask, what is your favorite kind of mindless fun movie? Which also doesn't necessarily mean doesn't mean it's poorly written, but it just mindless fun.
No, Hackers is atrociously written. It's not even accurate to like hacking. Even back in the 1995, like you have like literal hackers being like, oh, it's just 28.8 BPS modem. Like it's all like tech jargon that you think people are talking about behind the scenes in the dark web, but like it's just fun. Like the overall premise and framework of the movie is just a ton of fun with me. Like it's not accurate, but they're playing with computers and they're having fun, and the message overall is fun. That's just it. It's a horrible movie, but I love it.
Yeah. one of my favorites, it's still technically in the realm of superheroes. There's a movie called The Spirit, with Samuel L. Jackson and the guy from Suits, Gabriel Macht, I think his name is. It is it's rough. It is really rough, but everything about it, like I love how much it's just trying to be, Sin City.
It really does want to be Sin City.
It wants to so bad, but I love it. And I don't know much about the original character of the Spirit, but I know he's like a pulp kind of character, a pulpy kind of hero, like the Phantom or like the Shadow or something. But turning this into like this weird, out there, edgy, kind of crazy thing, like the Spirit like does Rorschach narrations where she's like, my city, she calls out to me, she cries for me, and all that sort of stuff. And of course, Sam Jackson playing a villain called the Octopus, and he just has 8 of everything, including like guns and stuff. It's great. Scarlett Johansson plays his like henchwoman, and he always has like crazy every time you see him, he's in a different costume. One of them was actually like actually not great. I don't know if I could say it on here, but it's like
you're free to say whatever you want.
Yeah, okay. So like he wears like a Nazi uniform. It's very weird. It's an interesting choice, but outside of that, like I still think it's really fun and just pulpy and just nonsensical. I love it.
Okay. I mean, we got some Evil Dead Rises.
Oh God, that was so good. That
Blue
was
Mountain
so good.
State. Three Amigos.
I mean, it's a show, but yeah, it's
Machete might be my top mindless fun film. We also have any of the Fast and Furious movies. Those are all very, very.
Of course,
that's actually my number one for it is specifically Too Fast, Too Furious. That's the greatest.
Yes,
that's one of the greatest films of all time.
Oh, it's so awesome.
I literally like my wife gets irritated because like I'm just driving us around in her like SUV and someone's coming up. I'm like, you ain't passing me, dog. I start quoting the movie. She's like, stop it.
Granny shifting instead of double clutching like you should. That's also another thing about it. Like, you know, the way I like Hackers and its inaccuracies to like hacking is the same way I like Fast and Furious to its inaccuracies of cartooning and stuff.
Life, driving.
Every single time they use NOS to just get that boost, just, oh my God, it's the most ridiculous thing.
I grew up thinking NOS was going to be a lot more prevalent.
I know. Right?
No, my favorite one, I mean, the very beginning of the first movie, he shifts like 9 times and you're like, how many uses the hell? But more importantly, when his car breaks down in that first race, it's just a thing on the passenger floorboard that falls out of the car, and I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah, it's just like that floor panel or something.
Yeah, what is that? What's happening? I don't know. Jedi Spark says The Raptor on a Plane. There's also a lot of just really terrible horror movies that are just fun. The Velocipaster comes to mind.
I was just thinking that, you know, Sharknado, all that stuff.
Thanksgiving.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just. I was thinking of a scene in Thanksgiving. You ever see a turkey go, "Nice tits, bitch"?
Oh my God. Is that that's an actual scene for the movie?
It's wild. And listen, Thanksgiving is coming up, so Thanksgiving, yeah, you should add it all to your list.
No, yeah, we definitely need more Thanksgiving horror movies, especially because like all the horror movies come out in October. There's nothing for November, really. I mean, Eli Roth had a Thanksgiving movie, like I think a couple years ago, and that wasn't very good either. Not even like a fun, bad, it's good, just not really memorable at all.
Is this a Star Wars
Xanthro
show?
says Transporter 2. Great film. You know, I don't think I've ever seen the first one. The second one's so good.
But yes, this is a Star Wars show, but it's also our show. So we're going to talk about whatever we want.
Jet Li's the one.
Yes.
Amazing.
I was about to say, wait, is that Time Cop? Never mind. All of Jean-Claude Van Damme's movies. I don't care. Like Double Impact, I think innovated on the same person on the screen at the same time. One person playing two people at the same time. A lot of people don't realize that he did it before. He did it before Osha and May.
Oh fuck! What's another one? Obviously, Dragon Ball Evolution. That's
nope. That's not
I
a.
can't.
That's
I
not.
know. I get no pleasure.
It is. It is.
Listen.
I know it is for me. I don't know. Like that was actually like the first time I experienced Dragon Ball. I didn't watch the anime. I didn't read the manga. I just know that everyone in my school loved Dragon Ball, and we're getting a movie. So I was like, oh, let me just pop that in and just, see what I can see. And for a long time, that was my favorite thing to watch ever. Like just all the time.
That's
that was
awesome.
my favorite Dragon Ball thing. I know different now. But,
Choco's like, that's awesome. What he meant to say was, bless your heart.
No,
I need help. I need help.
Well, I love the. Okay, so something I was thinking about the other day, and it was because that band Lawrence was getting a bunch of hate because of like their song, the one that people said sounded like the Max Rebo band.
Yeah.
And I was like, but they're like really talented and actually really really good musicians. Like I didn't understand it, and so like. Part of me, I always think it's funny when people will love something that's like that's hated, but they love it because they saw it in a vacuum, and so it's unaffected by anything else. Like I dig that you as a kid loved that movie, and if I was a kid who'd never watched the anime, I would probably like it.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could. I don't know. Well, I mean, I was
Think
never in
about
that
it.
position, so I can't.
just
really...
like all the context and history, like you're just coming in fresh faced. No one's telling you that like, oh, they didn't get this right from the anime. They didn't get this out of third.
Well,
you just go in blind.
Well, no. That's not the whole story. Because in the chat, David Xanatos has a really good point. See, Dragon Ball Evolution is 100% the case. Bad movie, hate it. Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme, bad movie, hate to love it. Because, like, I don't know. There's something about watching that and, like, roasting it while watching it is just fun. But I cannot stand Evolution.
That's fair. That's fair. That's totally fair.
Okay. No, that's not true. Never mind. I was gonna bring up
I'm gonna kick his ass so hard.
I was actually gonna bring up the second Street Fighter film, where the guy from Black Eyed Peas was Vega.
No, that's
That
a
one was
bad.
rough.
That's a double bad right there.
No, I was going to say that I enjoyed Dragon Ball Evolution more than Legend of Chun-Li, but I was like, that's not true.
But that's also a really low hurdle to jump over.
Yeah. Who's the guy who played M. Bison in that?
Something Donahue.
Is like he was also like he was a villain. He's a villain in a lot of things. I think he was a villain in a season of Arrow.
Neil
or something
McDonough.
too. Yes, him. I like him and stuff. I just like seeing him and stuff. Being all sinister.
No, he's a good actor. Yeah. I mean, like, listen, like Kristen Cruick.
I just liked Kristen Cruick. All right.
Oh yeah, of course. Smallville Days. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love her?
I mean, I literally thought you said Small Dick Days, and I was like, what?
Let's see. Was that the one that had Jimmy from Lois and Clark? I don't remember Jimmy in that show. Like the Adventures of Lois or the new. Wait, what?
It's the new Lois and Clark, isn't it? Superman and Lois is the new one, I think, right?
Okay. Yeah, it is.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
That's another one, yeah.
That's a great one. Which, unrelated but related, we have Creature Commandos dropping soon.
Woo!
That's got me excited because it's it is what it is. It's Suicide Squad, but with monsters instead of supervillains.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. And that's releasing very, very soon.
No, definitely excited for that one. Definitely excited for all the new DC stuff. And I know, like, it's another one of those shows that's like, oh, who asked for this? You know, who really wanted this? And it's like, well, we already know that it's possible. Like, the Penguin we're doing the Penguin right now, and it's still amazing. No one expected that to,
I still
be
have
so
to watch
good.
it.
I have to finish.
Yeah, it's
I
really
have to
good.
finish it. Yeah, for sure.
Well,
I like that first
the
episode.
thing. So what you're describing is exactly what makes me excited, right? Because we know he's a sweaty, right? He's a comic book nerd, and he's like, okay, I'm doing this, and I'm doing Creature Commando. You know that's a passion project, that we're gonna get something wacky and beautiful. You know, Guardians of the Galaxy is extremely popular now. No one had really talked about them, before then. And it's along the same vein. Also, in Creature Commandos, one of the cool things that he's done is he's casting voice actors that can also play a live action counterpart to the character. So we also don't know where they could pop back up. And yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming with it. Also, even sooner, we're getting season 2 of Arcane, which is arguably one of the best written things in the past few years.
Yeah, another surprise. I'll not a big League of Legends fan whatsoever, but I saw that, binged all of it. Wow, amazing.
Drops
Cannot
today?
wait.
Yeah. The 9th of midnight, yeah. It's not only am I like not a League of Legends fan, I tend not to be a fan of League of Legends people.
True.
You know what I mean? And so if you're like, we were making this League of Legends show, yeah, not interested.
I think that's why I watched it, to be honest. I was like, well, my initial trepidation was because of that reason. But then I watched it, I was like, well, it's not like I'm going to log into the game.
True.
Also, another thing that's out right now that people should be watching is the third core of Bleach, and it has an awesome fighting game that's coming out, Rebirth of Souls, in 2025.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
I watched the first 2 episodes so far. I haven't after I've seen dude's eyes, but I will be catching up soon.
Did you watch the Yoruichi trailer for Rebirth of Souls? Is that something you'd like to do?
Fan. Absolutely.
Real quick, sorry guys. I gotta jump out. But it was awesome talking to you guys. Hopefully we can do this again and for a lot longer.
All right, man.
Yes.
Thanks for calling in.
All right.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
All right, we do have another caller.
Time zones are fun.
And to answer Malik's question, we do take live calls. Yes.
Also, Master James Kenobi, where do you live again? It's Australia, right?
Yes.
Are you in the future already?
We do have another caller. Let's bring them in. Hello?
Can you hear me? Mic check. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hear you, yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah. You know how awkward that'd have been if you couldn't hear me after all that time I was waiting? Oh, that'd be so terrible.
Sorry, I don't. I actually can't see the studio, so I don't know how long you've been waiting.
No, you're good. You're good. You guys are good. I've been like down on Star Wars for a while, but you guys are bringing me back up slowly but surely, maybe.
Well, all right. So we got a new trilogy coming, but we don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
Simon Kinberg, I mean the person whose rumor was reporting said that his sources said it's not 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
What would you want it to be?
Honestly, Kinberg worries me. The first thing I thought about was when Disney acquired Star Wars. and I'm a film guy, so like I thought about Disney, the studio, etc. But when I saw that Disney was able to kill it with Avengers, I figured, okay, Star Wars Avengers, I'm fine with. It won't be the OG trilogy. Maybe it won't have like the heart of the sequel, but I'm fine with that. And instead, salute to Disney for giving it a shot. But it seems like they gave directors an opportunity to make their mark, but there wasn't any congruency. Like you have to have someone along the lines, and I assumed it would be JJ. You have to have someone along the lines to plot the track. You know what I mean? And that didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, and so that's why I'm kind of asking, if we are getting a new trilogy, what would you want it to be? Like ideally, what would get you more excited to be back in it?
This won't happen, but I love a little Knights of the Old Republic. But if we didn't get that, I'd be interested in, I don't know, like something along the lines of a darker version of the expanded universe. Maybe we don't get Rey right out the gate. Maybe we don't get the dark side or like the new Jedi Order right out the gate. But we get ushered into something that leads into the expanded universe. But I think if Disney's doing Star Wars, they're doing $250 million as a budget, and they're going all out. And I think we need to be reintroduced to what that universe could look like. But I don't see that happening.
So what would you like to see from the expanded universe if they were to go that direction?
Yeah.
So like something that impressed me with, say, the Avengers, for instance, and even Oppenheimer, was the revamping of the heist film, and that's something that even the Avengers did. Where when I heard one of the Russo brothers say it, one of them, I forget which one, he's like, yeah, it's a time heist. Yeah. And I'm like, look, Star Wars could kill it for $1 billion with any genre flick. You could, like, fanfic wise, I made a I don't want to curse. I don't know if that'll ruin the algorithm.
You're fine.
But,
you're
like,
fine.
I made a fucking like Star Wars horror flick about the Sith and the Jedi, and then out of nowhere Anakin comes up, but it's good Anakin, and you're like, oh no, it's Vader. Like, why aren't we having fun with these genres when we have this IP? It's arguably the greatest IP of all film, and part of me wonders, like, while I respect the fact that Disney wants to make something that's canonical, I don't know if that's how you say that word. We need
canonical,
to
close enough.
Canonical, yeah. We need to take chances. Like you have the opportunity to take chances, and I'm not seeing those chances.
One that comes to mind, and I think it was one of, if not, it was the second to last Legends book to even come out, and it was Star Wars Scoundrels. And anyone who hasn't checked it out, you should read this. It is a Timothy Zahn book, I believe. He did Scoundrels, and it's a heist book. It's a bunch of people. Lando's involved, and they're breaking into this gangster, who's has deals with Black Sun, and they're trying to break into his vault and steal stuff. At the same time, the Empire is auditing this place, so there's more scrutiny over stuff, and there's a lot specifically in the heist. I love heists. I've watched all of the show Leverage twice just because I love heists so much. But you're right, they could absolutely do something like that in Star Wars.
I mean, you guys remember 1313?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some friends that were working at that studio at the time.
Yeah, you remember, because I mean, maybe this wasn't you guys, but I remember I got excited for 1313, and it got to a point where I remember my girlfriend at the time. She was like, "Look, shut the fuck up! Like, just okay. I'm gonna play the game too. I feel you." And the game didn't come out, and Rebels came out. All right, well, not Rebels. Outlaws came out, and it's like, okay, fine. But those are the chances that I'm talking about. I'm try hard on you guys' stream. I took notes, and I took notes. I'm not even gonna play it cool. Certain things that like I would like to talk about, and I feel like it's all gonna bleed back to Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah, let me land this plane. So like, go for it.
I do feel bad about like I said, I have a close personal friend who worked for the studio while 1313 was being made, and oddly enough, it turns into a Boba Fett game. But they did do some advanced stuff, and in the shuffle of things, technology just kind of moved past where they were and with the tools that they were using. But I feel bad because towards the end, I'm not gonna lie, that Star Wars, pre-sale, jerked around a couple studios to the point that the studio shut down.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no.
We had the mall game that was announced, and then and that was done by the original team that did the Wii port for Star Wars The Force Unleashed. But yeah, they were working on that mall game. But they have, if you hear them talk about it, some funny stories about kind of being jerked around by George a little bit, where they wouldn't hear any direction or anything like that for months, and then they get a call and be like, "Oh yeah, no, Maul's coming back to life, and he has a spider body." And they're like, "What? We have to put that in the game?" That's funny. I wonder if there are more things like that they could potentially resurrect.
And as a side note, going into broader film, and even harkening back to Lucasfilm, is Tim Miller with Deadpool. If Choco, if you're wondering what happened to that personal feel of Deadpool, Tim Miller got fucked out of it, is what happened to it. And don't get me wrong,
I saw his interview on that podcast. It was kind of eye-opening.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a Tim Miller fan. Salute to Love and Robots, but by all intents and purposes, Tim Miller, by industry standards, if you kick the tires just on the trades, he may be someone that's difficult to work with. But if you've kept up with any drama on the Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively front, maybe they're difficult to work with too. So I think difficult to work with. If you're talented, it's all warranted. It's all on the level. It's just about what you're willing to abide by if the film is good enough. And once Tim Miller got forced out, if you notice, slowly but surely, this Deadpool thing, while it's still charismatic, it's still clever and sarcastic, it's become a bit soulless. And that's the worry I get with Star Wars, where I haven't thought about Simon Kinberg much, outside of say Logan. And so when you guys were talking about him, I'm like, well, let me see what old boy's up to. And since then, it's been Murder on the Orient, Deadpool 2, Dark Phoenix, The New Mutants, The 355, A Haunting in Venice, Lift, and The Killer's Game. Respectfully, it's been ass, in my opinion. That's just respectfully. And
okay,
I'm worried.
I'll respectfully say I liked Murder on Orient Express. But it goes back to what we were saying earlier. You write as much as he does, you're gonna have misses. You're gonna have hits and misses, and he has a lot of hits too. So if you want to focus on the ones that you think are ass, you should also, consider the stuff that he has written that is also really good,
That's fair.
Specifically, I mean, he is credited for every episode of Star Wars Rebels, and I think that's the most relevant metric. And sure, yeah, the recent ones could be misses. It also depends on the actual role, though. Is he writing or producing, or at what level is his involvement? I don't know. That's that part I couldn't tell you, but if he is at least calling on some of the people that he worked with for all 71 episodes of Rebels, then I'm in. But it sounded like you had something specific that you wanted to talk about. You said you took notes.
Oh yeah, well, like I took notes like on like literally if I read my notes, they would sound I don't like what's the best way like scatterbrained. When you guys talked about Mystique, I wrote a note that said J-Law didn't have to like being Mystique. There were director problems. Angel was solid, but they should have chased that. Cut to Queer Angel, X-Men 2. Salute to Darwin, but adapt this was a great line. Deadpool was okay. No, Deadpool okay, takes are lazy. Salute to Tim. The Spirit had one of the greatest trailers of all time. The problem is I'm blanking on his name, but the comic book creator directed it. Evil Dead Rise. Let me Google him actually. It was the same guy that made 300 and
Zack Snyder. Was this Zack Snyder?
Was that a Snyder film?
No, it was literally the comic book creator. Frank Miller. So the problem with the Spirit,
that's the
Frank Miller. Yeah, Frank Miller directed it, and he only got the option to direct it because 300 and Sin City did so well that, and I get it. If I was a director, I would do the same thing. Rodriguez and Snyder, they vouched for him, and he got like 60 to 70 million to do it, and it was ass because he had no experience. And then I don't know if he ever directed anything after that. But The Spirit is like a good comic if it was directed by someone that knew what they were doing and it wasn't the first opportunity. It would have been good. And I don't know. I still look back at that trailer and I'm like, damn, that could have been a good movie.
Yeah, we still have to remember that like the translation needs to be there, and that's one of the things I've appreciated. One of the reasons I have hope when it comes to Dave Filoni is he transitioned slowly to live action. You can't be like, you're good at comics, do live action, because they're different mediums. You know what I mean? That's like taking a sculptor and then being like, play me a song. I don't
Some skills have a level of transferability, but it's not a complete transplant. But as far as Simon Kinberg is concerned, the exclusive said that he was signed on to write and produce. We don't know any other information aside from that, but we do know that Kinberg has, as Choco has said, experience writing for Star Wars Rebels. He's written some really, really good movies, and he's had some really, really bad misses, but at the end of the day, we don't have any more information about that, so we don't know what's going on. What we can say is it's at least hopeful that there's more movies coming out for Star Wars, if that is the case. Like, it could be a Willow trilogy for all we care. Like, he keep on saying that.
Yeah. Hey, if he does like a Red Tails trilogy, I'm in.
Oh no, I work because like when I look at Kinberg, for instance, I'm not beyond reason. Like Damon Lindelof, I feel like got a bad deal where he he had some strong work that people like.
People
They
meddled.
have to, yeah, they
Yeah.
meddle with dissected, and it's one of those things where it's like, look, I I saw Watchmen. I actually loved it. I saw the leftovers post first season, second and third season were masterful. Mrs. Davis fine. I look at Simon Kinberg and I'm going to watch Murder on the Orient Express just off the strength of that recommendation. But when I look at everything else he's done outside of Rebels in the last 6 years, I don't know if it carries over off of the strength of his hand. So if it's his fingerprints across the project, I don't know if it delivers, and I don't know if that's the person you want ushering in the next saga of Star Wars. Star Wars of all things.
Well, there's one thing that we can at least provide in terms of comfort. I would say is that he's only the writer and producer. Right. It takes a village to make a film, let alone a trilogy, let alone start a saga, right? And we now have Filoni at the helm in terms of creative, being the creative officer who contributes to a lot of story development when it comes to all of the projects. So depending on where this new saga and this new trilogy lands, there's going to be a lot more hands on it, right?
Additionally, and because yeah, Star Wars has a story group. We also have Dave Filoni, at the top there. But the more recent films on his IMDb are him being the executive producer, right? That's being the overall project overseer, not necessarily the writer.
Well, sometimes
So
EPs are there as financial investment too.
yeah. What I'm saying is that it's less of a creative role for the outlook of the film than like a writer is. And so while because I really had fun with Wolverine and Deadpool, right? What are you doing? Sorry, my cat's being weird. I wouldn't. I mean, I'd say if someone was like an EP on that movie, that'd be really good. I think if they were the writer, I'd be more concerned. um Different roles.
I guess I look at it like if when I've seen the Star, and let me know if you guys think this was a good play that became a bad one that they rectified, or it was a bad one that they inevitably rectified. But when the Game of Thrones guys were given a Star Wars flick or two, I thought to myself, like, they've adapted things. Maybe not give them that. And then once they showed that they couldn't deliver on a critically acclaimed scale, once they've gone past the adaptation, it seemed like the films they were given were pulled. But at the same time, the fact that they were given that opportunity, regardless of what Thrones is, because I mean, if you're working with Star Wars, that first hire needs to be the best hire. I don't know if I can't trust like Brass to deliver on because to me I just can't help but think every great creative wants to have a Star Wars movie. Even Christopher Nolan said no comment when he was like, you guys probably saw this interview where interviewers like, would you do a Star Wars movie? Everything he said no comment to was basically, I would, but no comment because I haven't been offered and we need to talk about contractuals. Every great creative wants to do a Star Wars movie. How do you not get the best creatives to make? Denis Villeneuve wanted to do a Star Wars movie and he was denied. Like, how do you not get every great creative to do a Star Wars movie?
Well, as far as we know, in terms of the filmmaking process, it's not that simple. There are scheduling just conflicts. There are contractual conflicts. There's How much money are they asking for? Does their vision align with the overall grander narrative that they want to do? That's kind of the reason why some movies lose writers, and it has nothing to do with whether or not the outlook is negative, right? It's always just when someone departs based on creative differences, it's just that, right? It's creative differences, and that's not to say anything explicitly about the quality of the product that's coming out. I mean, it does rear its head sometimes when they go forward with the production and then have creative differences, and then bring on a different director to kind of like it's like the fan four stick. But yeah, like if you have a whole bunch of directors that wants to do a Star Wars project, but they don't align with your vision, or they're asking for too much money,
or if they don't have a vision, or
they don't have the schedule.
Well, if you guys say like align with the vision, hypothetically, I'm sitting beside like the kingmakers. What would be the best vision you guys would conjure for the Star Wars universe? And we'll say 3 films.
I could think of a number of them, but I wouldn't be able to tell you that's the best vision. So like we recently did a video about this during one of our reactions. We often talk about what we would like to see, what new movie we would like to see, what kind of show we would like to produce, and it all sounds great coming out of our mouths, but we can't proselytize a vision and therefore claim it to be the best thing. So, I mean, I think where my mind is right now is going into the Old Republic. But I don't know if that is their vision. I don't know if it's the best vision, but that's all we have to work off of, right?
Right.
That's why I don't come forward with, I read this script, that would have been the best movie. It's like, you don't know that because it's not a filmed movie. It's not edited. It's not sound designed. It's like there's no effects. You're just reading the words on the paper.
Well, like certain things, like, what was his name? Colin Trevorrow or Trevor?
Trevorrow.
Yeah, like even his Duel of the Fates. You read what he leaked or what someone alleged to be leaked. It's like, yeah, this is kind of ass. But I get them not wanting to give you like $300 million to make this, so good on them. But the fact that he was in the running before he fucked it off, and then, like, I'm a big fan of like Rian Johnson, but it's just. It's one of those things where I don't know if there's an overarching narrative that they're trying to deliver, but I do know that there's so much creative potential. We have to keep coming back. You can't. It's kind of like
there's always.
I like it.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's always a larger vision. There's always an overarching narrative. If we read the meeting notes, that is
in the movie.
In general from Star Wars itself, like if we read the meeting notes that they had back in 2014 before Force Awakens came out, they had the entire story laid out of what they wanted to do.
I don't know if there are people, while there may be an overarching narrative in like the broad stream, if that's the case. I don't know if people.
It's the difference between the blood and legacy. Like, what is the inheritance and what's the legacy you leave behind? And that's the premise of every film in the sequel trilogy. I think there's another narrative that people kind of seem to forget, and it's having specific expectations from Star Wars, because this is a franchise that we love. And so we can get in a situation where it may be very good, but it's not what we pictured for Star Wars, or maybe it's not what we imagined when we were growing up from it. And that's one of the things I find most fascinating about the sequel trilogy, is because it was written by fans of the original trilogy is what it really feels like, and so by doing so, it corrects the perceived mistakes from the prequel trilogy. Now, I get some people don't like the films, and oftentimes I find not liking a film makes the narrative harder to follow some of them, but like I don't know. There's just it's just a moving target, and there's really no way to know. If you look at Rian Johnson's filmography, it's just fantastic, and he did make my favorite Star Wars film of all time, and it was widely financially successful and critically acclaimed. Or but giving. And I'm trying to tie in all the topics here, so we can so we can kind of close out. Okay. Yes, Last Jedi is my favorite. But then you can also have people like Rogue One, where it's created by people who aren't Star Wars fans. You know, I would hate to see a Christopher Nolan Star Wars movie, because I don't think it would feel like. You know, like you can't have like a Wes Anderson Star Wars. Actually, that might kind of slap out a little bit, but
I feel like Nolan takes a lot of IP and makes it Christopher Nolan.
Exactly. But then you also have people like the Russo brothers who didn't have a track record of doing things, and then we get the Avengers out. There's too many variables. I can show you a lot of highly acclaimed people from the film industry.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Like my worry is this, like for instance, people will, I don't know if you guys have seen like Godfather 1 and 2, and people will see Godfather 1 and 2 and they'll shit on Godfather Part 3. And I look at it like, if you take Godfather Part 3 aside from like that trilogy, it's a fine gangster flick about like an aging gangster that's trying to get his family out of the business, who's trying to reconcile his past with his present and do right by his future. And the reason why people are like, oh, it's a shit movie, because you're comparing it to 1 and 2, which are masterpieces. Even when I look at, just in my opinion, and the beauty of film is that it's all subjective, it's art. When I look at 7, 8, and 9, it doesn't hold up the way 4, 5, and 6 do. But like even with the mistakes of 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3 didn't have 1, 2, and 3 to harken back to do better by, and like studying the work and in executing a better story. So like when I look at 7, 8, and 9, I guess if you have 1 through 6, and 7, 8, and 9 are the best you can do, I question what's coming after that, but it's only because if they were to wipe the slate clean, and it's not like a Dragon Ball Z with Goku and Vegeta and Bulma, and if you're just doing something with wholly new characters and they happen to be Saiyans, that works. But if you're bringing back Goku and you're bringing back Vegeta and you're bringing back Bulma, it's like you need to do better off of the strength of the IP, just in my opinion.
And that's fine if you didn't like what they did. I personally think that the original trilogy characters shouldn't have been in there in the first place, because people lost their focus or missed the message because they only wanted to see Luke kicking ass, which is just objectively not what it's about. But the main question I have is, what's next? Like after having the stuff that you don't like, what comes after that? So because we have our criticisms of things that we don't like, and then we say, I don't like how this was done. The next question is, can I ask you guys this question? Because I'm curious. Like, I don't know. I saw this from I saw these two ideas from game trailers of Star Wars, and I'm curious if the Star Wars universe can hold up to this type of moral scrutiny. So on the one hand, I'm sure you guys saw this trailer. It was a Jedi and his Padawan. They were fighting with the Sith, and I think the Sith was like imparting like a message into the Padawan where it was like, remember, they took you from your family.
and your brother died because you weren't there to protect him, and your family was saddened by like you leaving. You guys know what I'm talking about?
The most recent one from from the Old Republic online game. Yes.
Yeah. I'm curious if can the Star Wars universe like hold, because in my mind, like the Star Wars universe is just simple. The Jedi are good, the Sith are bad. And if you play like if you operate in the gray and you go, well, obviously the Jedi are a religious order, and in religious orders there may be like, some reformation needed. Can the Star Wars universe actually hold up to that type of like moral scrutiny, or is it best to just keep it simple?
I think largely how the original trilogy succeeded was because, well, so let me preface this. George Lucas always said that these films were for kids, so we were never going to deal with the nuances of moral good or moral bad.
For sure, yeah, 100%.
And so it was always evil emperor, that he's like the most evil of everything. And so whatever George Lucas did was for the ease of comprehension for kids. They saw the red sabers, they saw emperor, and saw all bad. And what I think is happening now is an evolution of storytelling, because now it's not George Lucas, it's the fans that are the storytellers now. And I think what we're dealing with currently is the main issue with Star Wars fans is that we don't all agree. And that's a beautiful thing, right? We all have different favorites. We all have different least favorites. We all have different movies and shows we don't like. And so a lot of times you'll get this notion from people, it's like they should have actual fans making these projects, right? But these guys are fans. It's just you can't put,
they're fans with a different take.
Yeah, you can't put 100 fans in one room and be like, all right, make this movie, and they're all gonna agree on it. It's just not a Star Wars fan. Everybody has a different Star Wars for them, whether they started from the originals or they started from the prequels. It's a different story for different people. So I think they can thrive in dealing with the gray areas. I think Acolyte did a fantastic job of that, actually, because like people's most basic criticisms of that when it came to the good and bad was having a problem with painting the Jedi as bad guys. But the Acolyte didn't paint the Jedi as bad guys. They painted Soul as having flaws and making a terrible mistake, right? And then the Jedi around him, namely Indara, was good. Like, she was trying to prevent that from happening. So I think Star Wars is getting a little bit more mature, and it expects the mature audience to be able to distinguish between good and bad, even if it's in the gray areas. You know what I mean?
Then this is kind of why I desperately need Star Wars to get back into the theater, because I think they should do a thing where they keep the simpler stories, the simpler black and white stories in the theaters, and you can keep those coming out, and then you can use our TV shows to do our Andors and things like that. They get into more nuance and subtlety, because what we have kind of found is the more nuance and subtlety needed to discuss or shown on the screen, the more, I don't know, violent the reaction, the more troubled. I don't know how to put it, but when Andor is the only Star Wars that's coming out, at a point in time, then the entire fan base feels like it was made for them, and if it doesn't appeal to this people, then they are mad, right? So if you can keep something that's going down the middle,
you gotta make Star Wars
so that they can be
Star Wars for everyone, basically.
Yes, you gotta keep them fed,
like we always say, you can't make a Star Wars for everyone, but if they have a Star Wars for someone somewhere, then it doesn't become like it's trash, like the whole thing is trash, right? Like you'll have a project for people who like heists, You'll have a project for people who love political intrigue and espionage, which was Andor, and then you have your like popcorn flicks that is just lightsabers going, and that's as simple as that.
Because like you described the cinematic, and all of those cinematic are great cinematics, but they're not stories.
I mean, but
and you can enjoy them, but people will act like, oh, this is better written than this or than that, and it's not even written. I mean, the one cinematic is a scene from the book Deceived, which is a good book, but if that's the comparison, then
Well, I'm sorry. No, don't finish. I'm sorry.
Well, I just mean there's nothing written. That's like a scene.
I'll finish Choco's thought. Essentially, you can take the fight from episode 5 of The Acolyte, take it out of the story completely, show it to people that haven't seen The Acolyte, and they'd probably be like, that was an awesome fight. But like, there's no story behind it.
But like my point is this: maybe we have too many Star Wars fans and not enough film fans, or not enough like something that I'm thinking on
agree,
really
100%.
Because like there was a I'm blanking on who said this to whom, but there was a writer director that told another writer director, "You are a great." No, I remember actually. It was Curtis Hanson who made L.A. Confidential and 8 Mile, and he was like the epitome of like a film bro. And the guy James Ellroy, whose novel he was adapting, L.A. Confidential, said, "You're a fine filmmaker, but you're a terrible storyteller." And it's one of those things where, off the top of my head, and I'm nowhere near the creative potential of these people that are producing, directing, writing, but you can have a Star Wars spy film with say Anakin or a handful of Jedi. You can have a Star Wars Western. I mean, hell, even Zack Snyder was percolating that before he made the films on Netflix he made that I won't even mention. And it's just one of those things where
we dodged a bullet.
Well, we dodged, and I can't help but think, these people that I'm critiquing thought the same thing more than likely before they gave a crack at it. But it just seems like it's the Star Wars universe is almost director proof. It's almost screenwriter proof. And sometimes I worry, the same way Zack Snyder was considered the geek messiah in the 2000s. And then people found out, which I loved Watchmen, and his Superman flicks were okay. But funny enough, he had never read Watchmen, and he had never read a Superman comic. And everyone gave him that geek messiah just off of the strength of the aesthetic that he could deliver. So I wonder if,
he has a god complex.
Yeah, but I wonder if like there are people that we're granting the arguably the greatest IP ever to that ain't actually fucking with it. Maybe they ain't. The same way Zack Snyder wasn't. But there was a whole rollout
Tony
where
Gilroy wasn't.
Oh, wait, say again?
Tony Gilroy?
Oh, Tony Gilroy, yeah. And that's my worry, because I want to live in a world where, like, Tarantino said, if you make a bad movie, it's because you don't like movies. That's, you could argue maybe Tarantino made a bad movie, but I want to think you can get there. Like, you have a 20-point lead. I swear to God, you can't fuck up a Star Wars movie, but, it's not universally acclaimed.
Yeah,
and I don't know,
and that reaches down into the core problem with Star Wars in general. It's because not everyone agrees in Star Wars. Everyone has a different Star Wars. Like I keep on saying, and so you can have a total hit in a hit in our point of view in The Last Jedi, but it's completely divisive. And that's not to say that the other group of people are wrong or invalid. It's just that like that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, The Last Jedi is critically acclaimed. If you look at the Rise of Skywalker, that's doing better on Rotten Tomatoes than Revenge of the Sith. Right? It's like at 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's my least favorite Star Wars film. It's so subjective that we really can't iron down anything. It's what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy about the franchise. I find some of the Star Wars fans are mostly a fan of the Clone Wars, and they judge all projects based off of how close that was to the Clone Wars. But we are going to head over to our comics conversation in just a moment. So do you have any final thoughts? Any final things you want to say?
Yeah, I started looking at the comments before I go. No, hey, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys and what you're doing.
We love geeking
out. It's refreshing compared to everybody that will go, oh, I didn't like this thread in a Jedi's uniform, and this is why I hate Star Wars and where they're going. I appreciate the fact you guys are trying something, you know. But on a side note, just
fire in space.
Listen.
I also hate that people were like, "Oh yeah, well, why is there sound?" Like it's a shut up. You don't want like nothing but silence in the TIE fighter. Shut up.
Why does an X-wing bank like it has air in space? Like, it doesn't matter, all right?
Yeah,
this ain't that type of movie, kid.
That's why we call the carpet nuggets tourists, because it's financially lucrative to jump on a majorly popular IP and start spouting your rage.
Start talking shit. Yeah. And before I go, I just want to say the people that are saying, I think this is VGC, but like Snyder, which it's sad to say, but Snyder was seen as a lightweight messiah, because I was on those forums where people were like, he didn't know the fucking squid was the cause of the like apocalypse. He didn't know, and he didn't. I was on those forums. I was like 13 or 14, I forget, and people were talking shit about the fact that he had no idea that the Watchmen ended a certain kind of way, and neither did Warner Brothers, but they weren't supposed to know. He was. So I just ended at that, and hey, thank y'all for the time. All right.
Hey, thanks for calling in.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, Brody.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. We haven't had a live call in a while. We had two.
Yeah. It's well, we usually don't discuss that's open at that point in time, but yeah, we definitely appreciate him joining. No, that always bothered me. I didn't realize that's why in the Watchmen, because it ends with like a bomb type thing, but like they're like, no, it's supposed to be a psychic alien that's like that does attack the city. It blows up and it has psychic damage, like. And then, he uses that to unite the world, and he missed the whole point of that end. That was kind of... Bond makes 100% more sense in this movie. I gotta disagree with that.
VGC says, don't even get me started on the missing knife in TLJ. I can easily reconcile that for you, VGC. When Rey parries the knife in his right... in the guy's right hand and twists his hand, he drops the knife in his left hand because chain reaction. But I know, but we all know it disappeared. But that's how I reconcile it. It doesn't matter. It's like that was like what 7-8 years ago now.
My favorite ones though are the people who can't reconcile that he physically could have dropped a knife or whatever. It was missing. I don't care, but they can rectify Luke's force kick, which was recently brought into canon. and they can rectify Palpatine's force scream, like from a choreography standpoint, you can't rectify the throne room, Palpatine's arrest scene. You know what I mean? You can explain it later in lore.
Either way, these kind of silly mistakes just exist all over Star Wars. We're not gonna get away from it. But moving on to our...
I think VGC was saying that in vein of the tiny things people complain about. That's when the comment was there.
I mean, VGC is a moderator. I know he's got or they got good head on their shoulders. But moving on to our comics discussion, which contains...
It'll be quick because we didn't catch up.
Hey, it's just a small-ish comics update. I mean, what do we got, Choco? Let's lead this conversation because I'm still...
But I will say this, and I'm gonna challenge Pep here to this. We have to do a January 1st, maybe January 1st. I don't know if my wife's gonna make us go out of town or anything, but
yeah, I might not.
A year look back where we've caught up on the comics that came out in that year. That came out in 2024.
Oh yeah,
so
year in comics.
Big old redux.
Let's do it.
All right, perfect. But the gem of what's been going on is the whole. Oh my god! I know I'm saying Battle Jakku, but the Insurgency Rising.
Mm-hmm. I probably should have just read that if I only had time to read a couple of issues.
If you want to read time, you're like, no, I'm going to catch up on 100 first and then knock out.
I'm on issue 40 out of 50, so I thought I could.
I'm just kidding.
So catch us up on that one.
It's good, y'all. Listen, we're in a brand new space in the Star Wars comics.
Are we in the bottom zone?
Makes me very, very happy that we are post Return of the Jedi in the comics. So now we're getting comics of a Luke that knows what he's doing, right? This is the bread and butter stuff that we're getting in the expanded universe for years, and we've only just now reached canon. And Insurgency Rising is our first It's our first step into that in the comics. Mm-hmm. We do have a few books, but
where the hell did you get that cat face? Hold on. Is that a BTTV emote? VGC? Oh wait, that's from Twitch, so it's probably like...
Yeah, it's from Twitch. It's from something cool.
YouTube doesn't have those.
No, but basically, like it starts at Han and Leia's wedding, but there's like an Imperial out there who is hell bent on continuing the fight, right? He knows that Palpatine has died. He knows that Vader has died, and he's like, you know what? My crew doesn't need to know that this is over. Like we're gonna we're gonna ride this thing till the wheels fall off, type of thing. And just the quote when it starts, I'm trying to find it, but it's that war just doesn't end. It just doesn't go away. The second they died, there's still a whole section. There's people in place. There's still a whole war machine that still needs to be dismantled. And how do you deal with that? And so we have this Moff who's now running a fleet, who is hardcore, who came up as a stormtrooper and just rose up the military command. He served under Thrawn and was there at Adelon. He served under all these people, and now the part that was missing from that equation is the Force. But now he has advisors from Yup Tashu's and the Acolytes, from his boss is getting involved. And this they went around just kind of collecting everyone who's around at this time in just the best way possible. I really enjoy this. I read the first 4 issues. So you have Leia, who's still grappling with. She's force sensitive. Luke wants to train her. Her father just died, but that's not really her father. You know what I mean? We have the scrambling of the Acolytes of Beyond, and we got a whole mission with, Cass Dameron. We got what's his name from Resistance? Jaeger. And I loved Jaeger's character from Resistance, especially when he talks about the old war and all the stuff and why he doesn't want to be involved, but it's kind of dragging him back. He served under the rebellion. This is that story. That's cool.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna jump on and read it. I mean, how long have we waited for a canon story after Return of the Jedi? Since 2014.
Yeah. I mean, we do have had a couple little. We got a couple things. We get a couple things here and there, but yeah, this is a first big step into that, where we are involving. Like the implications of it are huge. We get a new Inquisitor, but she's working with the Acolytes of Beyond, not with the Palpatine, not with the Sith. So that brings in a whole new faction potentially to be involved in things. We have the Kajimi Spice Runners getting involved, including Zima Bliss,
Zori Bliss, or her mother,
her mom, Zora Bliss's mom.
Zima. Remember those?
Adelhard and number 4 are out now. Awesome. Yes. Moff Adelhard. Yeah, it's a good story. It's a good story. You'll have to. I can't remember what Zori's mom's name is. Zari, Zira. Zorshin.
Well, let's look at
Zonathan. I'm gonna keep going until you find the answer. Zenithar, Xanatos. All right, I ran out.
Ziva. Oh, Zara.
Ziva, huh? Ziva. It's Ziva. Ziva Bliss.
Ziva had succeeded Zara Bliss as the group's leader during the era.
All right, well,
it's Ziva or Zara. Let's see.
Pretty sure it's
Zara
Ziva.
Bliss is
Ziva. Yep, Ziva Bliss.
okay.
Montreal official. Yo, what's up? Hello.
Oh, it says right here. Her
Zippy?
mother, Ziva Bliss. I'm not always on Wikipedia.
Yeah, and Zam, she's a changeling.
Is Obi-Wan
Sorry,
Shinobi?
I was having trouble thinking, but and they're working with the Hutts. It's just a fun time because there's this power vacuum in the galaxy that we ultimately know what happens, once we get to bloodlines and stuff. But oh man, I don't know.
So are they kind of laying the groundwork canonically for Operation Cinder in this comic, or at least kind of making mention of it?
They definitely make mention of it for sure, but I mean that's also not the first. So this day where it starts was the first comic way back in the day, and that's where Operation Cinder came from. God, and I'm blanking on the name. It's where Poe's mom, and they get to the force tree. There's 2 of the baby force trees. Luke takes one, gives the other one to her.
That might be an issue that I haven't gotten to.
No, it's a short. It's a 4 or 5 issue special run.
Poe Dameron?
And my goodness,
In Poe Dameron, the comic?
No, it's before Poe Dameron. This is like one of the first things. This is like 2014, 2015. Okay, hear me out. Nolan makes a Star Wars movie, but it's just as Dunkirk during Operation Cinder.
You
know
change
what?
Dunkirk to a Star Wars name.
That works. That works.
Montreal official says, I wanted to pass by before I eat with my extended family. Well, thank you for stopping by, Montreal. We'll catch you on the flip side. Is that a thing they still say? We'll catch you on the skibbity.
No, we say catch you on the flippity flip. That's from The Office.
You got it?
Yeah, vamp for like 30 seconds while this page loads.
Alternatively, Star Wars Tenet Tenet or Tenant? Or
Probably Tenet. That's
the,
another movie.
World Between World with Jason and Ezra. I feel like
the more they stay out of the World Between Worlds, the better.
I feel like if Nolan makes a film...
Shattered Empire.
Ah, okay. If Nolan makes a Star Wars film, I feel like he would do best in a Jedi Mandalorian war. Because there's the least amount of lore and mysticism that you have to explore in that. You just kind of explore the ideological differences between the Mandalorians and the Jedi.
Yeah. Shattered Empire came out in October
2013.
So September of 2015.
Oh.
And that's the first mention of Project Cinder. So that was right before the game.
Yeah, back then I wasn't as up to things as I was because that was like transitionary like periods.
Yeah, so back then I was super excited for new Star Wars to come out, and I knew Shattered Empire was dropping. So there was 3 things dropping. It was Shattered Empire, it was Lost Stars, and it was the Aftermath trilogy.
Oh.
This is like 2014, 2015. And I was like, oh, I'm super excited. New Star Wars is coming out. And so I was like, which one of these do I get first? And I saw the YA and I was like, oh, no, it's going to be bad. I'm not doing the comic right now. And so I got the Aftermath trilogy and I hated it. I hated it so much.
And then
I just left Star Wars. I literally just left Star Wars for a while.
to this day, those books are my albatross. Aftermath. Well, no, I read the first one, the second and third Aftermath, and then Alphabet Squadron. Those are my albatross that I. Those are
all the books that cover that thing at that time period.
Ah, man. Well, I mean,
don't let him touch the lore.
This was a small, even though in the thumbnail it says massive comic book update. A small but fruitful comic update. Stay tuned for January, our Dyad in the Force episode in January, where we take a look back at all of 2024 comic runs. In that, we will most likely be up to date, at least more so than now. And we're also going to do, as part of our January slate, we're also going to do a High Republic run back. Because I need to severely catch up with the High Republic. I feel terrible for letting it fall by the wayside. But there's so much Star Wars. There's so much like stuff out there now. You know, I'm ruined. I'm ruined by the amount of geek that's out there.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
Geek, baby.
We'll move on to hot takes because I feel like as I read this, I would like to see a Darren Aronofsky could do with a Star Wars project. Remind me who Darren Aronofsky is.
Master James Kenobi. Actually, going back through Fallen Star at the moment. You trying to cry? You trying to be sad?
I feel like he's rubbing it in. Because as we're behind, he is going back and rereading.
He's gonna lap us, you bastard.
Hot take: Star Wars needs a comedy series on Disney Plus. I would take it. It would be Nubs, Niku, and Nubs, Niku, and Black Chrysanthemum.
I mean,
you gotta have the self-serious one.
Well, no. I mean, what my Star Wars comedy is just before A New Hope, and it's Zach Braff and Donald Faison from Scrubs back together. They are both Imperial officers, both with separate teams of cadets, and they're competing. And whoever like breaks the record, or whoever does better, gets a chance to be stationed on the Death Star.
Why did you just pitch Scrubs but Star Wars?
Yeah, the Scrubs, but Star Wars. But you also don't want them to win. But they're like, but this is them officers teaching another team of officers, right? And they're like, yeah, are we the bad guys? And they're like, hype Faison though. Listen, he did a voice. He can do more than one voice. All right.
On the opposite end, I want Neil Patrick Harris and
what would they say instead of Eagle in the chat? Let us know. Sorry, Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris and trying to think.
Minoc. I don't know.
All right, you can think of the other half of this, but Neil Patrick Harris, a comedy. On the flip side of that, covering people in the Dreamers, the partisan movement, and they have to contend with Saw Gerrera's shit, but also they're kind of like, I'm not that serious about this, like. You know, they always have to do some kind of like terroristic like violent stuff, but it's made lighthearted by their comedy that they don't want to do this. I'm trying to think of an analog for that.
Of a way to get that across.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's people who. Oh my God! No, that's what it is. It's literally.
They wanted to join the rebellion, but they couldn't get that high up.
I'm picturing people who are like HoloNet journalists, quote unquote, but basically they're Star Wars podcasters who are really like critical of the Empire. Enough that the like Empire comes after them. Or Empire comes after them, and then they get taken in by the rebels to protect them. But there are comedy podcasts of basically in space who don't want to be soldiers and fight this war, and they really it was just lip service on the internet, and now that they're in the fight and they don't want to be.
I do like the extreme contrast between the part like Saw Gerrera's movement and that particular trope.
Someone who wants to be under Mon Mothma, but they get placed under Saw, and they're like,
they show up as like, hey, we're here to help, Anything you could do. And then Saw gives the orders to like their platoon leader. He's like, blow it up, everything. And then like the leader's like, but what about the civilians? And Saw's like, collateral damage. Do it. And then the other guy's like, and then the two journalists is like, what are we about to do right now? Like those types of conversations.
No.
Spooky Kitty says, hot take, you guys are fantastic and I greatly appreciate what you do. Thank you for making me feel better after this last week. Appreciate you, Spooky Kitty. We do our best to cope, and we appreciate you being here throughout it. You know, as much as we are the ones speaking into the microphone, you guys are also helping with the cope by being around and being fantastic. Let's see here. Star Wars cops, but it's bounty hunters. Oh, so kind of like Dog the Bounty Hunter, but like bounty hunters.
No, I mean like Cops, the show. Maybe, I don't know.
It could be cops, but bounty hunters itself kind of lends itself to Dog the Bounty Hunter. So they like you could like follow. What's that guy's face? Towelhead.
Look, I want an intergalactic, Love is Blind. So they don't even know what species you are.
Oh, that's true. That's true. We could also do
it's really difficult, but having 4 arms is helpful. And they're like, what?
What about Coruscant's Got Talent?
Borgullet needs to be in Love and Blind. Exactly. As well as a Kanan.
Could you picture Saw in Love is Blind? I really like to enjoy a cup of calf.
Did we just invent a new skit series? We just do Love is Blind, but as different Star Wars characters. So
good, yeah.
So you're trying to figure out who?
Yeah.
I'm a lead singer in a band. Oh, okay.
Lies.
Yeah,
Deception. More lies.
Oh, I love it. From to the top of my fluid sac. And you're like, oh.
What is Elmo doing on Love is Blind? When did Elmo enter Star Wars? I mean, we could make a whole entire podcast with Saw and Nicolas Cage, and he's like the history of rebellions. Welcome back to the history of rebellions. My guest today is a fantastic partisan. His name is Saw Gerrera, if I'm saying that correctly. My name is Forrest Whitaker. Short for Undertaker. Sorry.
Bachelorette number 3. Say your name is Borgullet. What do you do? It's like, I'm a dancer. Kinda. You're like, oh, that sounds interesting.
Kinda. And then Palpatine's like, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Who's he talking to?
Bachelor number 2. What do you do for a living? It's like, I am an up-and-comer. An entrepreneur. I'm second in command of their business. And you're like, and then after they get to it, and it's like, but recently promoted. And it's Bib Fortuna at the end. I think it would work.
I think we could just do this with Star Wars quotes, really. Like, the normal is like, so what do you do for a living? I am the Senate.
What does that entail? senatorial stuff.
It's like, have you ever been in love before? I'm just a simple man trying to make his way through the galaxy, like my father before me. Great, but like, are you? Do you have a history with? Have you done this before? And then he just goes, I follow my own creed.
I'm just a simple man. Like, do you have any kids? Kinda.
I'm on this show because I'd like to find the perfect partner so that I can finally settle down and have some kids. And then Anakin's like, I hate kids. The women and children too. Between the two ferns with Saw Gerrera, it would not it wouldn't be ferns though, right? What would be the set piece for that show?
I don't know enough about plants and Star Wars.
Between two Drengir? Same
That's
dating show
terrifying.
concept, but it's Lando, Jabba, and that Imperial officer that got framed. The Imperial officer that got framed.
Oh, yeah, from Bad Batch, I believe.
Oh, Rampart?
Oh no, it's all the people that. Sorry, all the people that Ezra pretends to be.
Oh, okay. Okay. Added another K in there just in case. All Ezra monikers, gotcha.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could make a Friends sitcom with the Ghost Crew. You know, if they spun it off in the middle of one of the seasons, like they've been grounded by the rebellion just for like a couple of months. Hey, what are you doing right now, Zeb? I'm working out. That's what I do. I don't know why I gave him a northern English accent there. That's what I do. I work outs, yeah. I work outs and injects the HCG, whatever it is.
I feel
I
like
likes my proteins. That hurts my throat.
that sounds like someone who's named their fists. But yeah, that's all I got. You have any other hot takes? Wait, was that just Jason Statham?
Probably. He's a little bit. He's less. I mean, he is Northern English, but he's.
I know
very,
you started as a generic, and then at the end it trailed off and to save
like
him
to go-
at the last moment.
I like to go to the gym, pump that HCG. I do what I do. Don't underestimate me. I'm a transporter. What's this link that I'm seeing? VGC. Oh, that's on Twitch. I was like, let me see this real quick. I can't copy and paste from here. The Ezra Buffalo Wild Wings commercial always gets me. Oh, I have a question. Who would you like to see from Star Wars on Hot Ones? Din Djarin? What is this? What's a Scoville unit? What's a Scoville unit? Take my helmet off.
Yeah, who would I like to see there?
Who would you like to see, and who would
I mean,
who would completely
Dexter
roll
Jester,
it?
of course.
That's a caliente sauce from Camino. That's the sauce that the Kaminoans make.
That's spicy.
I like this hot sauce. Does it come in just hot? You should charge. You should charge for it. It's flavor in itself.
Zero the Hutt would be your second guest. I would love to see Asajj Ventress on it. I think she would have a lot of biting comebacks and would be too proud to admit that it was too hot for her.
I'd like to see Natalie Portman wearing one of my flannels. Yeah, you would. Also, hasn't Natalie Portman been on Hot Ones? I mean,
Just keep at it.
Natalie Portman doesn't.
They just came so far out of left field. I was just.
You were gobsmacked.
My brain took a moment.
Although Natalie Portman doesn't need to be on Hot Ones to be one of the hot ones, you know what I mean? I would love to see Sabine on Hot Ones. I'm sure there's a lot of colorful stories she could tell to Evan. Like what would Evan say? So back on Cronest, I read that you like to tag up your family's castles with a bunch of these different murals. How did that make you feel?
Well, the ultimate one would be Sanjir Rathvelis, but you need to read more to the Aftermath books. He's so sassy.
Anakin after Mustafar, but before the suit, like they stopped him for. How does it feel to be burnt, Anakin, or is it Vader? So before we started filming,
but he can't hold the hot one.
No, he can't.
He just has one metal hand. It just sounds cruel.
At least his hand wouldn't be hot, although he'd still have to be careful around his eyes.
He's like, this tastes like it just tastes like charcoal.
These wings aren't your failure, Evan. It's mine.
Good, Anakin. No, you didn't.
Pelimotto would be great as well. A lot of the people that are very, very talkative, very, very sassy.
Yeah, either Chewbacca, for sure, because I feel like that would go like only a couple.
Why does this Old Republic track
tossed?
Remind me of Jurassic Park?
I can hear that.
Okay.
Black Chrysanthemum would just win.
You just take the whole cutting board and stuff it all in. All right, last question before we wrap things up, guys, and I appreciate you guys hanging out and rocking with us. Last question. You have 10 seconds, and you can count to yourself and make sure you're not cheating. You have 10 seconds to name one actor that's never been in Star Wars to be in Star Wars, no matter what they play. You have 10 seconds to pick immediately, and Natalie Portman has already been in Star Wars. Just to remind you, spooky. Tom Cavanaugh? Is that Reverse Flash? Am I getting that right? I believe it is, yes. That is what's his face? Thawne.
Yeah. That's who it was. Okay. Yeah.
Ian McKellen. Okay, so Master James Kenobi. What is Ian McKellen playing? Adam Sandler. Who's Adam Sandler gonna play?
Adam Sandler is the boss of Donald Faison.
Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp would be another pirate that meets Hondo, right? VGC says Alexa Vega as a Twi'lek. Okay, so he's clearly there's some ulterior motives happening there. I mean, if we're going with like ulterior motives, I'd like to see Becky G. Becky G would play a Togruta. I'm still mourning the loss from Boba Fett. Gruff former bounty hunter who tells stories and gets recruited for one last score. Interesting. Let me think about this real quick.
If I go into my Ian McCullen.
What would his name? What was bounty hunter name?
Boba Fett the Grey. That is what they used to call me. I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure.
Tom Cruise as an Ewok.
Is that what you're? That's what you took. That's what you used your 10 seconds for.
No, I'm still thinking of a good one.
Tom Cruise as an Ewok. Listen, all right. My best friend's wicked.
Oh, Jason Lee, that's a good one.
Yeah. Is that Jason Lee, Bruce Lee's son? Jason.
That's
Lee?
Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee. Sorry. Who's Jason Lee again?
Jason Lee is a former skateboarder who turned into an actor.
Ulterior motives. Anadarmus. True.
Ooh.
Okay, I know. I've taken more than 10 seconds. So is Choco. But I feel like the one person that I want in Star Wars immediately is Dan Stevens.
Yeah.
I mean, Thrawn's already been taken by Lars, but put Dan Stevens in there.
Okay, and what is he?
He is an acolyte of the Beyond. Since we're kind of making them relevant now.
Here's
Does Sam
what I'm
Witwer
saying.
count? No. He's in Star Wars like 6 times. It's like saying does Mark Hamill count?
Give me Keanu Reeves. Give me Keanu Reeves, but specifically, a Keanu Reeves type. I could also go for Norman Reedus, but give me a small town in Star Wars that like starts to get invaded, and then old man who lives on top of the hill, who was a badass back in the day, but now he spends his days drunk, comes down and is like, I'll protect this town. Hey kid, you're gonna be my sidekick, or whatever. And then together they fight off like this invasion that lasts for an evening.
So Seventh Son?
Seventh Son?
Yeah. I think that was Jeff Bridges and I forget who was Seventh Son and Seventh Son.
Oh. I mean, it's a common American film trope.
Ben Barnes and Jeff Bridges. I mean, it's like Ben Barnes.
I haven't seen that movie. Yeah, that works. That works too.
All right, old man. I'll follow you into the battle. Just tell me if I know Kung Fu. Aubrey Plaza, yes. Yes. All of the yeses. And she can play anything she wants. So long as she's wearing what she was wearing in Agatha all along.
Why did you tell me she rose like this?
Happy places. And it will never happen but RDJ as Talon Card. Listen, James Kenobi. You're almost as bad as me
RDJ's
with Quinlan
talent
Voss.
card. I hate it.
I'm
sorry. That's fine. But
I'm on Quinlan Voss watch. He's on Talon Card like neighborhood watch.
I love talent card. Listen, I mean,
Aubrey Plaza, but she's just death again. Yeah. Oh man, could you see? So seeing how they did death, could you see Aubrey Plaza as Abeloth? Like more subdued, not the same thing. And I'm like doing this off camera, but subdued.
don't want it.
I mean, I always want Aubrey, so. If you made Aubrey Plaza Abeloth, I would be super excited for that. Not for the story. For other reasons. Bro, you guys are so good at impressions. Please do that Keanu Reeves again, or Keanu voice. They call me Baba Yaga. I like to stay at the Continental because they take my coins that don't work anywhere else. I need to. My activator is I'm Keanu Reeves. And The Last Jedi is my favorite film. I am the one. I am the chosen one. Just finished my stream and came to check you guys. We're still live. Choco's looking fresh. Dang. What's going on? Everything GM.
Hello.
Stuart Townsend would also work for TK. I will say his name as many times as it takes for him to appear in Star Wars. Stuart.
Oh,
Townsend,
I mean,
card?
listen. You give me a talent card and a crew of and a crew that has to do a casino heist, and they're heisting from Booster Tarek. So it's a casino on a Star Destroyer.
Scarlett Johansson is an Imperial interrogator or ISB. So Black Widow. Typecasting, are we? You know what? I want Hugo Weaving as an Imperial officer. Right, like Luke, or not Luke, but like Palpatine comes back, and this is after Return of the Jedi, and then like Hugo Weaving's like, "You should have stayed dead." What does he say in The Hobbit? You should have stayed dead. Which is another thing. Oh, we haven't watched The Hobbit, have we? Choco.
We have not watched The Hobbit.
That'll be another thing that goes up on the hyperspace lanes.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Tom Holland as Roy Skywalker? Come on.
Sorry,
I mean,
someone just sent me something, and I didn't know. I don't know if it's true because I didn't watch the full thing. But it's a clip of It's a picture of Star Wars Theory with the captions on, and it says,
"Oh, it's fake. Yeah, it's doctored."
How can it be a trilogy if it's episodes 10 and 12? That's only 2 films.
Yeah,
I assume so, but well, at least I would hope so. But nothing's past it at this point.
Listen, I know we have Revan and
yeah,
Vader.
no, it's definitely fake because the box doesn't even look right. But someone just sent that. That was funny.
I know we have Revan and Vader, but we got to be a little bit more original with Rey's long lost twin brother. It's not like Rey and Roy.
It's Say. It's Gray.
No, what would Rey's long lost twin brother be named?
Jonathan.
Why? Is that your hot take? Jonathan? Jake Skywalker.
I would love it. I would actually love that.
Steven. Ray, I've been looking for you. Who are you? I'm your long lost brother. I don't have a brother. I bypassed the compressor. I'm Steve.
Now, we are getting close past that time. We're just kind of hanging out here. But, yeah, I mean, Jonathan is my name.
Well, there you go.
I wasn't insulting the name Jonathan. No, I was actually quoting Paul Rudd. I don't know if you remember when they were doing a quiz and they're like, what is the name of Thor's hammer? And they were asking all of the different Avengers people.
We have 20 seconds left until it's 3 hours flat. If we can end this video, this episode. Do you want? No, never mind. We're not going to make it.
Yeah.
But
he said Jonathan.
Let's start winding down. Actually, we're gonna end the episode here. It's officially 3 hours long, which is always great because, well, there you go, TVGC. We just have lots of great conversations with you guys. We love hanging out with you and just shooting the shit and just having fun. This is what talking Star Wars and talking geekdom is all about. You know, this is something that you can't do if you're perpetually angry.
Yep.
But appreciate Age of Nostalgia for calling in. We appreciate Brody for calling in. And all of you for hanging out. This has been Dyad and the Force in 194. A quick update about next week. That episode may be canceled. I'm unsure because I'm going to a concert next week. I don't know what time though, but you guys should. I mean, you'll see the episode on the YouTube calendars if it's going through. But I'm going to see my alt group Dreamcatcher again. So if it's at this time, then for sure we're gonna cancel next week's. But we'll be around I'll be around for Yoda set. But you could say jizz concert. What are you talking about? This is 18 mature language. 18 mature language on Twitch and for adults on YouTube. But Choco, any final thoughts?
Vaya con Dios, my friends.
I will go with God. No, I won't. I'm an atheist. Vaya con carnes.
Go with beef.
No, vaya con carnitas. That's my. I like carnitas better. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out. Also, did y'all see Spanish Anakin versus Obi-Wan TikTok tagged y'all in it? No, we haven't. But
I did see that. That was hilarious. It was like a telenovela.
But that's it. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are all carnitas tacos.
And may Spooky Kitty get their flannel. I can't. Just go.
Yeah, get your flannels. Bye.